Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is the third session for today, which, as we all know, this is the fifth day of a week-long virtual career expo. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For those of you, this is the first time that's here, listen up. I'll actually give a preview of what's going on. And for those of you who were with us earlier today, also welcome back to the first and the largest online career expo that was ever staged in the city's innovation and technology sector. Now, just a bit of a background information for those of you who just came in. We have over 2,500 visits and also 130,000 page visits in terms of views. Now, in terms of CVs, we have over 6,000 CVs that's submitted, and that's a lot to read through. And on this virtual platform, besides having over 1,000 career opportunities, that's from more than 150 science park technology companies, that's across the fields of things like AI and robotics. We got health tech, we got fintech, and we also have smart city, which you can apply for pretty much in the comfort of your own home, holding your mobile devices. Just one click, you can do this anytime, anywhere. And also, over the course of this week, we are presenting you with almost 20 webinars that's featuring, we got some very experienced recruiters, we got trailblazing startups, we got INT heavyweights, and also we have the industry experts that's here to share with us. So everyone, let's buckle up and get ready for a very, very exciting ride and say hello to your future, and also take your career and your skills to a whole new level. And most importantly, get ahead of the game so that you have a good head start. All right, and everyone, ladies and gentlemen, join me in this session where we have Mr. Alex King. He's the Strategic Partnership Manager of Hatch by Ambition, and he will share with us on the topic of most in-demand skills in the field of INT. Everyone, let's put our virtual hands in our virtual round of applause together. Hi, Alex. How are you?
Hi, Melody. I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very good, actually very exciting. Now, I know we had a chit chat earlier, but I would like our family audiences to actually know just as much about you so that they know what's coming ahead. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So my name is Alex. Hi, everyone. It's great to meet you here. I am the Strategic Partnership Manager of Hatch, powered by Ambition. Ambition is an international recruitment company, and we've been in Hong Kong for 20 years. I'm responsible for spearheading and managing the Hatch division, which is where we work with companies such as startups, high growth companies, and fintechs. So what I do is I go to the company and help them with their hiring, as well as provide strategic advice on what to do with their talent.
Right. Now, I know like a lot of people probably are thinking like pretty much along the same lines. Did you want to share about some of the most wanted skills that's in the tech industry? Because it is a virtual career expo. So I guess that's probably one of the general questions that people have in mind.
Absolutely. So technology encompasses such a wide scope in business today. Many of our businesses have some element of technology, which subsequently requires them to have talent. Even if we look in any magazine or any newspaper, what we see is the rise of artificial intelligence, which is being increasingly more used over and over again in all different types of industries. For example, in Hong Kong, we're such a financial hub. The banking industry is on its road to digitalization and is using many of their internal processes and now converting into AI, with obviously front office and middle office being the forefront of this. This particularly relates to sort of anti-fraud, anti-money laundering, know your customer, and it obviously requires a lot of people to know about this particular industry in order to come in and help these banks with their digital transformation.
That's very interesting, because from a consumer's level, for me at least, the only AI that I know that I actually deal with is probably the chatbots, or maybe the calls that we get that we think they're human, but they're not. But I didn't know the application's already so integrated that we don't even know they exist.
Absolutely. So a lot of the time when you visit websites now, chatbots, we're often confronted with chatbots. We often think that we're speaking to someone directly from the company, when in reality it's actually a bot that has been generated by artificial intelligence. So what this means is that we do not have to have somebody, a physical person who is dealing with all of the inquiries or dealing with all of the issues. We can actually have someone there as a bot in order to deal with this, creating less headcount, and actually dealing with these people in a more efficient manner. This is obviously very, very big in the e-commerce industry, but affects multiple industries such as tourism and travel, F&B, etc. We'll continue to see the rise of AI affecting all different industries.
Right. And now, since it is a tech industry that we're talking about now, I'm just trying to guess, but I'm guessing coding would be one of them too, right? In terms of most wanted skills.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So obviously I've been in Hong Kong now for 4 years. So actually went to school here as well. And throughout the last 4 years, we're seeing an increasing rise or increasing demand for coders and developers. I have multitude of clients almost every day coming to me asking if they have full stack developers. Obviously, full stack developers encompasses the front end and the back end, but there's such a huge demand for full stack in Hong Kong that there's actually government schemes that are trying to get talent from outside of Hong Kong to come into Hong Kong to fill the demand. So learning these particular coding languages in Hong Kong to accommodate to the clients looking for the full stack developers, it's going to be very significant and it's going to increase your chances of getting a job.
Right. Actually, what you just said was very spot on, because I was actually looking into the funding and some of the incubation or the schemes that we have trying to attract those talent. It's just great. So which tells you we really need that here. Now, the same thing, I guess, is for I guess data is one of them, right?
Absolutely. There's a huge potential and use of data. So in today's day and age, we generate an astronomical amount of data, both by humans and machines. And it far outplaces our humans' ability to absorb this data. Because if you can imagine, we have so much coming in, it would take hours and hours and hours and a multitude of people to actually analyze all of this data. So what we can do is that we can have these people here to do this for them, which helps us or helps business leaders base their strategic decisions off this data. So a lot of people collect data through the websites, through the technology that they use, utilize that data, and then make their decisions or strategic decisions moving forward based upon that data. So this is another huge aspect that is growing. There's a multitude of companies that are collecting data and selling it to other people as well. So there's always going to be a huge demand now and in future years to come to set data, use it, and really help us make these decisions for businesses moving forward, whether it's selling data, whether it's using it to launch different products, or whether it is to generate data about a particular target group that you want to target with a particular product. So data is obviously hugely important as well.
Yeah, but now that said, since you mentioned data, but then I guess when we think about that and you're saying, oh yeah, you can actually provide the data to so-and-so, but security, wouldn't that be a problem too? I mean...
Yeah, I'm glad you said that actually, because we're transforming into a digital age. A lot of the stuff is now online. Everyone has a computer, everyone has a phone. We're constantly putting information and sensitive information into these particular devices. As you can imagine, once the processes with things like banks, for example, or something that uses sensitive information, once they start to gather this, there's going to be an increasing amount of attacks or people trying to access this data in order to use it for their own personal gain. So what that means is that we need an increase in cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is hugely important now and going forward, because as you can imagine, there's a lot more people trying to breach particular aspects in order to gain the sensitive information. So the New York Times actually reported that there will be 3.5 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs globally by 2021. And that is like 1 million unfilled jobs, 3.5 million.
That's a lot. Sorry, keep going.
And that is that's 1 million up from 2014. So that in itself shows you the demand of having these people in order to protect their data.
Wow. Now, because everything's online, that's always going to be a concern when you're in the virtual world. But then it just means there's more job openings in that field. Now, speaking of like online and virtual stuff, how about virtual reality? Would that be another one of the elements that's in this list?
Yes, so more countries are using virtual reality than some others, but it's essentially a computer-generated environment with sort of scenes and objects that appear, making the user feel immersed in surroundings. So a lot of the industries that are using this at the moment, as you can imagine, sort of travel, tourism, medicine, education, the culture, they've already taken advantage of this technology. So sometimes when you visit museums in these different countries now, they give you a virtual reality kit so you can actually feel like you're there. So it's essentially increasing the user experience that we were not able to access before. And that is obviously a very popular demand, meaning more and more people want to have this virtual reality experience. Even in some instances, I'm not sure if you've seen, you have people in Japan are now legally able to marry a virtual reality person. So the fact that this industry has all of these different aspects that we could use virtual reality for, it's going to show you the growth of this particular area.
Well, I did not know that you can actually marry a virtual reality person. Now
Yes.
I know. Now, what you just mentioned right there are kind of like the focuses and also some of the hard skills. Do you think there's any soft skills that you need on that list? Did you want to, is there anything that you feel that should belong there, or that's it?
Really glad you asked, actually, because many of the clients we're working with now, technology skills it's not enough to have technology skills. Of course, people do hire you for the skills that you have related to technology. That's always going to be there. But what people are really, really looking for is these interpersonal skills. That is what's going to separate you from the person next to you. And these include sort of managing outcomes, solving problems, how you diversify risk, your stakeholder management skills. You could have all of the technology skills in the world, but what companies are really looking for is stakeholder management. What they're looking for is someone to be the middleman between technology, customer, and stakeholder. Someone that knows the technology, but is able to strategically operate and be business savvy as well. As more and more people become technology literate, and as more and more people get involved within the sort of STEM aspects of the world, and more technology talent is coming to this world, what's really going to separate people is these interpersonal skills, because they're going to want someone who can actually sell a product as well as do the technical side of it as well. So if you can have both, that's going to significantly increase your chances of getting a job, not only in Hong Kong, which is what many of my clients are looking for, but also across the world.
Wow, but those two skills, they're both just as useful, but it's a little bit antagonistic. I remember I heard this analogy before. It's like, where's the athletic nerd? There's almost no such thing. I think someone was asking me that. I'm like, that's true, because most nerds aren't known to be like athletic. And then I was like, are you talking about me? But then, yeah, I guess those do exist. If they don't, I guess it's time to build that, right? So when I heard that, I was like, that's what they're talking about. Now,
everyone wants an athletic nerd, and you're going to see more and more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So everybody wants that. Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say everybody wants an athletic nerd. See more and more as we go into the future.
So I think it's a very interesting picture that we're painting. So even if it doesn't exist, be that person. Now let's jump right into the live questions that we have. We got quite a few that's coming in. Now the first one is, what are the most common tests I&T companies will ask their candidates to do other than just the interview?
So usually the way it works when we have a candidate going through a test that is a technical candidate, they usually have a phone screen to start off with. And within that phone screen, they just essentially run over your aspects of your CV, what you've done, what technical skills you have. Depending upon if you pass that, you then usually go into a technical test. And when you go into a technical test, that can vary between individual companies. Some companies use online technical tests, which you can actually go online and look at yourself. But many of the larger companies, for example, have built their own technology tests. These tech tests can range from like an hour online, doing it off your computer, or can be a 1 week project where you have to build something. So I cannot give you a sort of a straight answer, because it varies depending upon the company. But what I would recommend to do before you interview for a company, know what kind of technology test they're doing. And you can find that out by doing a bit of Google research or speaking to existing employees or ex-alumni of these particular companies.
Right. Now let's jump right into the second one. Someone is asking, how can I join the tech industry if I don't have a technical background?
So as I mentioned before, obviously technical skills are important, but like I said, there's also interpersonal skills as well. If you're showing a huge passion within the tech industry, the tech industry also have a multitude of sales positions. These include business development, these include sales executives, these include managers. So you do not have to have the technical skills as such in order to join a technical industry, because there's also other positions, not only the sales side, but in the financial side as well, strategic side. So there's always positions available for you if you do not have the tech skills. But what I'd recommend is to have a very good knowledge of the tech industry itself, and do your research and due diligence on the company that you're about to join or are going to interview for, to know about their product. Because at the end of the day, you could have great tech skills as well, but the product needs to be sold, which is why they're going to need people to do that for them.
Right. I guess it kind of relates to what we were saying in the previous sessions. It's like, I think people ask similar questions, but then it all boils down to, if you don't qualify for this job, they might have other ones for you. And also your personality, your soft skills, and your enthusiasm will actually shine through, even if the one that you're interviewing for is not the one that that you're suitable for, or the one that you think they're suitable for. So now another one is, and also Alex, is it okay if we extend everything by 5 minutes? Because we got a lot of questions coming in. Is that okay?
No problem. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Now let's jump into the next one. How do I show my sophisticated technical skills during an online interview? Oh, that's right. How do they flaunt that?
The sophisticated technical skills. So that depends. You can really only do what the test asks you to do. What I'd thoroughly recommend is to look at the question. What are they asking you to say, and what are they asking you to build? If they are asking you to build something using your technology skills, really take the time and be detailed. It's very obvious for the companies where these guys rush through the project just because they want to get it done. A lot of the people don't necessarily have the time, or try and get it done within their lunch hour, for example. Do this when you have the time to really put your head down and show the ability that you have to do these particular tests. Do it on a weekend, do it after you finish work. Make the time so you're not rushing yourself to try and get the test done in a certain period of time. So
okay.
that would be my answer in order to do this.
Okay, got it. So but I guess, yeah, that is right, because sometimes like when you do it, it really does affect the kind of input that you have. It may not be something that you see like visually, but it can kind of show from the way that you answer as well. Now, another one is, please describe the expected skill set for a product manager.
So again, a product manager will differentiate depending upon the different types of companies. So there's a huge diverse portfolio of product managers that some may look for more technical product managers, or some may look for product managers that know a bit more in depth at certain areas with to do with the product. So it's a very difficult question to generalize and give you a straight answer. Again, that will depend on different companies. What I would recommend is if the company that you want to work for, go onto JobsDB, go onto Google, have a look at different product manager job descriptions, because they will be available, and depending upon which kind of industry or company you want to work for, take a look at their job description, because that would be very different to a company, let's say from the commerce side, to the banking and financial services side. So have a look at the multitude of different product managers and really find out what interests you and what would motivate you, and that's going to be, I would recommend, the best sort of company to go for.
Right. I guess that is kind of like our CVs as well, right? I mean, usually the information is essentially the same, but depending on what job you apply for, the terminology, or even the angle that you're getting at it, or the side of you that you want these employers to see, can be a little bit different. And that tweaking actually makes all the difference, because one size probably doesn't fit all in this case, right? Okay, now let's move on to the fifth question. What are your top tips on preparing for an interview with a company in the INT sector? And also, how can this person make him or her stand out amongst other applicants?
So I think it's extremely important to know the company you're about to interview for. If you go onto LinkedIn, you can look at the insights of a particular company. So you can look at sort of turnover rate, what they're doing, what sort of kind of sales they're bringing in, how much they've grown over a particular area. What you can also look at is the news of the company. So recently published articles, or recently published quotes that they've done, or any little bit of work that they've done over a certain period of time. It's good to know exactly about the company, so what they've done, what their goal is, and what they're trying to achieve, but also the current affairs, what they've done recently. Because if you bring up something that they've done recently in an interview, it's going to show that you really care about this particular company, and it's going to make you shine above everybody else. But like I said earlier, it is interpersonal skills. Yes, you are going for a tech job, and let's say if it is the very technical side, great, you do have the technical skills, but talk about how in the past you've solved problems, how you've managed outcomes, how you've diversified risk, because these are the skills that inevitably you will face at some point, or will challenge you. But if you are able to talk about these and discuss these within your interview, that's going to make you shine above everybody else that doesn't do that.
Right, because as opposed to being somebody who's just like a single-use tool, it's how you actually make use of that tool and how you actually apply these tools during different circumstances that make you stand out, right? Because you don't want to be just a tool.
Exactly. Well, technology is also evolving and also diversifying. And what we look for guys within the tech sector is to solve problems. If you just sit there and say, I can't do it, then you're not going to look great. But if you've discussed how you've solved problems in the past, even if you don't necessarily have work experience, what you've done in your own time or your own projects that you've worked on, talk about how you've solved a problem, the way you've done it, and the outcome of you solving the problem.
I think the same logic applies to creative jobs. Like, you know, you might have a so-called a contestant or a competitor who's going for the same job as you, but you probably you're probably not as good as, say, at Photoshop as them. But then at the same time, you have better art sense, you're better with the clients, you're more empathetic about knowing what your clients need. Chances are you might get that job compared to the person who have like really, really good Photoshop skills only.
Absolutely. Correct.
Right. Now, looking at time, let's see, still okay. Let's move on to the next question. Someone's asking, I'm currently a student that's preparing to enter the workforce, and this person has a keen interest in INT, but not sure whether he or she should pursue the opportunities at well-established companies or startups. So what would your advice be?
I mean, given the current situation in Hong Kong, where, I mean, we've had the protests, we now have the virus situation. The startup side, although many progressing, but some are also struggling a little bit with regards to sort of capital flow, given the current situation. I mean, larger companies are as well. But what I would say at this period of time, larger companies do have a bit more stability than a startup. So both have their pros and cons. If you work for a larger company, of course, they've got more structure, they've got a detailed career path, and you're going to do what you're going to be doing, hopefully for a few years. But at a startup, it's like that you're going to wear many hats. So not only are you going to be doing the job that you were told to, you'll have exposure to all different departments of the business. Sometimes you may have to do a bit of sales, right. Sometimes you may have a bit of marketing. It's also a lot easier to progress through a company like a startup as well. So if you're doing a good job, your direct stakeholders will hopefully be the founders who can help you progress. But also the work that you do has an impact directly on the business, a visible impact. So it depends upon what you're looking for. I would be sensitive to current affairs and the current situation. Obviously looking at the current virus situation. So be sensitive about what's going on. And it's always important to ask the companies, like, how is business going? How has it affected you? How do you foresee yourself coming through these particular difficult times? Because their answers are going to give you a good indicator of what to go for at this particular time.
Right. Now, okay, I should jump into the last question. It seems like, oh, gee, time flies. Now, someone wants to know, what is the perfect CV in your opinion, and what are the necessary sections, and what is not worth mentioning? Because I know we have short attention spans.
There is no perfect CV. A CV will look different to everybody. What I can thoroughly recommend, or as someone who's looked through thousands of CVs in my time, make sure everything is neat, make sure there's no errors, make sure you can try and condense it on 2 pages maximum. If you've looked at the old, Yahoo CEO, she has her own CV on 1 piece of paper. So if she can do that, everybody else can do that. Highlight your skills, what you're best at in these particular areas on your CV. So be neat, be detailed, and condense it. There's no point having a CV which is 10 pages long, because no one's going to read that and they're going to think that you can't condense it into 2 pages. So highlight your skills and make sure that there's no spelling mistakes at all. And hopefully that will get you an interview.
Okay, got it. So within 2 pages, as long as it needs to be, but as short as it can be, while doing what you just said right there. Okay, I got it. Point taken. Thank you so much, Alex. As much as I want to keep you longer, we're totally like out for time. But thank you one more time for being with us. Thank you so much for the insightful sharing. And everyone at home, thank you so much for being with us. Big round of applause. Thanks again, Alex.
Thank you very much, Melody. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
All right, everyone, this is it for our webinar session on most in-demand skills in INT. And as I mentioned, if you want to recap the takeaways, the recorded version will actually be available online throughout the Virtual Career Expo. And we do have very informative webinars that are happening every day until March the 31st. And just a little bit of a forecast about what's coming up for tomorrow. Now, tomorrow we have the topic of gathering global INT talents in Science Park by Patrick Tu. He's a CEO and co-founder of Data AI. And then after that, we have key talents investors look for, and that is by Sammy Wong. That's the Associate Director, Corporate Venture Fund of the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park. So everyone, we'll see you again tomorrow. Don't miss out on any of this, very exciting stuff. And of course, if you have any inquiries or need technical support, if you need any help, jot this email down. It's hksp@vfairs.com. That is vfairs.com. Other than that, we'll see you tomorrow. That's it for today. Good luck on your job search, and everyone have a happy Sunday. And this is from the Hong Kong Science Park Virtual Career Expo. My name is MC Melody Kwan. I will see you in no time.